will the Bengals take with the 31st overall pick? Today, we're going to look at 1, 2, 3 dark horses. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get the latest and greatest NFL draft news. We're going to get to what I would want the Bengals to do. We're going to have some guests between now and the draft, during the draft, after the draft. When it comes to YouTube, we're a one-stop shop for all of your Bengals news. If you missed our instant reactions to Duke Tobin's news conference, our instant reactions to Zach Taylor's, you can watch both of those news conferences, by the way, in their entirety right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. That's just a little snippet of what we have as far as 2022 NFL draft content. And yeah, you've heard of the Tyler Linderbaums, Kaiir, Elams, Andrew Booth Jr.'s, all of these guys that could potentially be fits for the Bengals at 31st overall. But the beauty of picking 31st overall is there could be some dark horses that are there, some players that maybe you don't expect to be there, or that the Bengals have higher than you realize that we're not naming. And I'm going to give you three today, depending on how you want to say it. But I'm going to throw up the threes because it's NBA playoff time, baby. And we're going to start with the position of need, but it isn't the highest position of need. But I think it's a player that the Bengals will have really, really high on their board. And it's a defensive lineman, George Karlaftis, the edge rusher from Purdue. I think if he falls to the Bengals at 31, that's probably the pick. Even if Kaiir Elam's there, even if Tyler Linderbaum is there, even if guys like that are available, to me, I think they would look at him and say, man, this guy could be a Pro Bowl edge rusher, a Pro Bowl defensive end, a guy who's good enough against the run, a guy who is just relentless and could pair well with, the edge rushers that they have. A young guy like Joseph Osai. If you have Joseph Osai, Cam Sample, and now George Karlaftis, now that you have these young defensive linemen that you believe in that have a little versatility, obviously they have Trey Hendrickson. Obviously they have Sam Hubbard, two guys that are established. Hendrickson was amazing last year and a Pro Bowler. But adding to that, I think George Karlaftis certainly in the running. He's not expected to fall and be there when the Bengals pick. He's projected to be a round one pick. I'll just use Daniel Jeremiah's big board for reference right now. 18th overall on DJ's big board over at NFL.com. That being said, here's my guy. The guy that I just really like, and I don't think he's going to be available, and maybe he goes to New England or he goes to one of these really defensive-minded head coaches that just see him as this versatile chess piece that can play the nickel, that can really tackle and hit and deliver huge hits while also playing some safety and covering a lot of ground at safety. It's Daxton Hill out of the University of Michigan. And man, my guy, Dax Hill, I love him. And it's not, he's not the biggest guy, he's 5'11", 6 foot, 190, but he's versatile. He can play the nickel. He's a guy that, you don't want him to play the nickel. That's fine because he's a big hitter that you can move around in different safety spots. The Bengals use 3 safety looks. Love that about him. And the thing is like he would work with Jesse Bates. He's not the biggest guy. Okay. You know what he is? He's sticky in coverage. He's athletic. He moves really well and he delivers big hits, man. He'll tackle. He will tackle you. So instead of extending a Von Bell, maybe you get a guy like Dax Hill, who's the 15th best player in this draft, let's say, on their board, or something like that. He's 21st on Daniel Jeremiah's big board, was 19th, moved down a couple of spots recently, is projected to be a first rounder. From most people that you look at, Dane Brugler has him going in round 1 in the second best safety. Don't expect him to be there. But if he is there, I'm taking him. Barring something really unforeseen. Because the odds of all of these dark horses being available, well, they're not great. And, that's just part of being a dark horse. And so George Karlaftis, Daxton Hill, that's not a 3-tech in George Karlaftis. That's not a cornerback necessarily in Daxton Hill, but they're guys that can help out your secondary. They're guys that are going to help out your pass rush, even though it's not the 3-tech you're looking for, even though it's not the cornerback everybody's been talking about. And so those are 2 dark horses that I think the Bengals would seriously consider in round 1 if they're available, and that's a big if. The Bengals have never drafted a safety in the first round, and I think they would have in 2018 had Derwin James fallen to them at 21. Naturally, they picked Billy Price that draft, and then they took Jesse Bates in round 2. Worked out for Bates, didn't work out for Billy Price, but they were on the safety hunt then, and they could wait at safety, but I think if Daxton Hill falls, it's going to make them question whoever else is available. And if he does fall, that means that a lot of the guys that they were targeting, the Kaiir Elams of the world, probably not available. The Andrew Booths, the Kyler Gordons, some of those guys would have to go off the board for a guy like Hill to fall. And so if he does, I think the Bengals could certainly be interested. I'm going to give you one more dark horse. And this one, I don't think anybody is talking about, but I think that there's a chance that he's pretty high on the Bengals board. But before I do that, I have to tell you about Rivertown Inkery. This is where I got the sweatshirt. Look at this sweatshirt right here. They're awesome. They come with the heat all the time. It's not just Cincinnati football gear. It's not just orange and black, man. You have so many awesome quality products at Rivertown Inkery, whether you're looking for Cincinnati t-shirts, whether you want some orange and black gear, maybe you want a rocks glass right here. Look at this. This is awesome. I love this. And if you want something like that, you want anything Cincinnati related, any Cincinnati apparel, you got to get to Rivertown Inkery. Doug and his team do an outstanding job. And if you want to go try on different things, well, they're open 6 days a week. They're on Madison Road. Just go to rivertowninkery.com. Check out everything they have, and then, heck, go to the store and try it on. But I'm sure you've seen this sweatshirt around town on different videos. I was at church the other day. Someone's wearing this sweatshirt. You want to get your hands on one of these bad boys. It's nice and comfortable, especially if you're doing YouTube videos. All right, let's get to my third dark horse here. And this one, I don't know. You guys might hate this one. You might like this one. Because a lot of people like Nakobe Dean. And that's not who it is. Nakobe Dean, by the way, 17th on this draft board for Daniel Jeremiah. So he's much higher than the dark horse I actually have. It's actually Nakobe Dean's teammate. And depending on who you ask across the NFL, people have Quay Walker ahead of Nakobe Dean. And you look at these measurables, according to relativeathleticscore.com. And Nakobe Dean didn't test, but he's 5'11", not even 6 foot tall, 229, so he's really light. And then you look at Quay Walker, 6'3", 241. Look at that. 23 reps on the bench press, runs a 4.5 at 6'3", 240, was a fast 20-yard split, fast 10-yard split. Didn't do great in the vertical. That's around where my vertical is. But broad jump, elite. Shuttle, fast enough. 3-cone, elite. In overall tested in the 96th percentile among linebackers when you take into account his size, speed, athleticism, etc. And so when you look at a guy like that, it's like, man, what's not to like? And honestly, there's a lot to like. And I think he's at 29th on Daniel Jeremiah's big board. But overall, you're talking about a guy who has size, he has speed, and he's got the athleticism to match up with the big tight ends in the NFL along with running backs. So if he's got to guard a Joe Mixon, and then he's got to be matched up against a Hayden Hurst or a Tyler Eifert in his prime or a George Kittle, he can help with that. He's also good in zone coverage overall. But man, I think he will be able to be a playmaker in this defense. And I know Chris Sims, for example, watched film of Quay Walker, then watched film of Nakobe Dean, and has Walker ahead of Dean on his list of linebackers. So the 3 dark horses. My guy, Daxton Hill. That's my guy, man. I mean, if he's available, run it up, man. I think he'd make a lot of plays. You want to go with this big, huge linebacker that's going to make plays. Well, a guy like Quay Walker could certainly fit the Bengals bill, especially if they don't want to keep Jermaine Pratt long term. Maybe Logan Wilson and Walker are the two, and then you have both of those guys on rookie contracts for a couple of more years for Wilson, and then obviously 4, maybe even 5 years for Walker if you took him at 31, and then George Karlaftis. Not necessarily in that order. I think the way they would take these guys, if they did, would be Karlaftis, then it would be Hill, then it would be Walker. All 3 though, Quay Walker, George Karlaftis, Daxton Hill, could be off the board before 31. I think Walker's a quick riser. I think he's a guy that could end up being the first, maybe not the first linebacker, right? You got the kid out of Utah State that could go earlier, is projected to go earlier. Devin Lloyd. But don't be shocked. Don't be shocked now. Quay Walker, George Karlaftis, Daxton Hill. That's why you come here. You come here for insight like that. I think those three guys could be in play at 31 if the Bengals, are on the clock and they're available. If those guys are available. So it's going to be interesting to see. We're going to dive into what I think the Bengals will do, what I would do in the coming days with the NFL draft just 2 days away, baby. Hit that subscribe button. Check out allbengals.com. I have a ton of stuff for you there. And make sure you subscribe to the Locked On Bengals podcast. For our channel coordinator, Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien telling you to hit that subscribe button, get to rivertowninkery.com. And until next time, happy draft week here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk.